You already know who it is. My name is Sick Kick. Welcome to Sick Mix Part 9. Let's get it.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? I repeat, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? We're gonna have a problem here. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. We're gonna have a problem here. The Slim Shady is not the real Shady. Only with the Slim Shady that just imitating. So won't the real Slim Shady?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What is up? What's going on? Welcome back, and happy, freaky, funky, fresh, fantastic, phenomenal. That doesn't even start with an F, but I like it. Friday, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are ready to attack this market, and I'm excited to be here. So hit your boy with a big old Alpha Day Trading. Good morning if you are inside a chat. And if you guys are over on YouTube right now, hit me with a big good morning as well. Happy Friday. And then drop your location. Where are you guys tuning in from right now? I'm tuning in from the beautiful, wonderful 85 degrees Florida. So if you're in like the Midwest and it's 30 degrees, I feel so bad for you. Kevin's inside a chat ready to rock and roll. What's up, brother man? Good morning. AJ Stir, the Sizz. What's up, brother? William, Trader Adam, Cole, April. You guys are ready to rock and roll. I love it. Johnny Holmes, Steve Carby. How are we all doing this morning, guys? Good morning. Welcome back. We're going to have an amazing day today, aren't we? Every day is an amazing day, but today is even more amazing. It's going to be even more amazing today. Then if you guys are on YouTube, thank you guys so much for being here. We are starting what we call the pre-market rundown show. This is where we get you guys prepared for the day. Talk about, the complete market overview. What's my overview? What's my outlook? What are my expectations for today? And then really breaking down the spine, the cues, right? Where do I think we could be headed today? How am I looking to navigate the market? How am I looking to come in and get positioned and, take advantage of the opportunity to be able to lock in profit? I'm going to give you guys my personal game plans as well, not only on the spine, the cues, but if I have any penny stocks that I'm watching today, I'll give you guys the breakdown and my personal game plans and then my top option plays for today as well. So not only are these streams super informative, but they're very educational as well. As I'm giving you guys the game plans, I'm educating you on how I'm establishing the plan, the areas that I've identified, these zones, what are my expectations, and teaching you guys why my expectations are my expectations. How I'm looking to come in super confident and ready to attack this market and have a profitable day. So, going to get tons of value here, tons of education, tons of information, and really just build up some confidence so you guys can come in, attack this market, and have an amazing day. And the goal here today is end our week strong. If we can end our week profitable, let's do it. But the goal, end our week strong and preserve the capital. We are up a lot this week. I've seen a lot of you guys posting some amazing profits inside of chat. And so I do not want to see you guys come in, be super aggressive, and start giving back your profits, right? Capital preservation is front and center on your mind today. It's front and center on my mind today. Right, I want to retain the profits I've made this week, not give anything back. But if we see amazing opportunity, I would love to add to the bottom line. Right, but we're going to have some fun. We're going to rock and roll. And we're officially going to dive into it here in about 1 minute, guys. Lucian, what's up, brother? Good morning. Again, if you guys are over on the YouTube, how y'all doing today? Good morning. So who do we got? We got Tom, Andrew, Benny B, Tim, Sergi, what's up, everybody? Good morning, good morning. If you guys are on TikTok right now and you're like, why is Josh not saying good morning to me? I'm on TikTok. Well, the pre-market rundown show officially started over on YouTube, right? So that's where you guys want to be, is over on YouTube. Links are in the bio. Come on over, attend the pre-market rundown. This is where you guys are going to get those visual representations, the examples, and maybe have the opportunity for me to review some of your top stocks as well. All right, so let's dive into it. Let's go ahead and talk about what we got going on. And I gotta keep making adjustments and stuff, but we're pretty good. You guys can see the charts, the screens. You guys are all great. Audio check. We're all set, ready to rock. Fantastic. So what did we have going on this morning? Well, we did have some economic data drop. So this morning we did have core PCE price index month over month. We also had personal income month over month and personal spending month over month. Core PCE came in right at the forecast. We came in at 0.3%. We were forecasted to come in at 0.3%. Okay. Go take a look at personal income month over month, right? Previous read, 0.4%. We were forecasted to come in at 0.4%. We came in 0.1% lower than the forecast at 0.3%. But go check out personal spending month over month. Previous was 0.4%. We were forecasted to come in at 0.5%. We actually came in 0.2% higher here this month for personal spending month over month. Now, a lot of that big data is out of the way, but there are still some things you have to be mindful of for today. Okay, here at 9 o'clock, so in about 23 minutes, you do have Fed bar speaking, right, leading up to market open. So from 9 to 9:30, you can see some more volatility, some more movement as you do have a Fed member speaking. Okay, then at 10 o'clock, there's definitely some data that you guys need to be mindful of. Okay, mark that 10 o'clock time on your charts. Don't forget that you have Michigan consumer sentiment data. Now, it's not of high importance like core PCE, personal income, or personal spending, but Michigan consumer sentiment data has rocked the market before. We've seen a lot of volatility and some big moves at 10 o'clock when Michigan consumer sentiment data is released. So the first thing that I do is I check out the economic calendar. I'm like, hey, what do we have going on today? Is today a data-heavy day? Do we have any key times we have to be mindful of? Right? The last thing that I want to do is be in a position not knowing that we have some high important economic data dropping at, say, 10 o'clock and get completely crushed in the position, right? I've had that happen so many times to where I'm in a trade and out of nowhere, the stock goes against me by 2 points just out of nowhere. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, data dropped. We got to be mindful of these times to make sure we're mitigating risk correctly. And how do we mitigate risk? Maybe that means you put a hard stop in the system, right? Maybe you got your finger on the trigger. Maybe you just flatten your position altogether, let data drop, see how the market reacts, and then go from there. So the first thing that I always like to do is go grab yourself a nice little vertical line, right? Go to 10 o'clock right there and just stamp it up. That blue line represents we have data dropping, and we need to be mindful if we're in a position around that time, okay? So let's just go ahead and start there. But then let's go ahead and dive right into the SPY and the Qs, talk about what we have going on, where we could see the markets heading to next, and really just break down the technicals and give you guys, my analysis for the day. And again, what are my game plans for today? How am I looking to come in, and how am I looking to make some money, right? That's the goal here, right? We want to make money. How do we make money? We take only the best of the best trades. How do we take the best of the best trades? We understand where the market can move and where the highest probability opportunity may be. Okay, so the first step is I always go right into the daily and I start identifying my key areas, my key zones of support resistance, right? If the market comes to one of these key zones, I know with a high level of confidence and certainty, something's probably going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but something is most likely going to happen. Right? Maybe we break a zone and hold it as intraday support. We see aggressive buyers stepping in and we could see a nice push to the upside. Maybe we come up into a zone of resistance and we have good price development and we see that sellers are getting more aggressive to where we can see a nice fade and fall. I know that these are key areas that the stock can get to, and when the stock gets there, that something's probably going to happen. There's going to be a trading opportunity. And at least I know it's a higher probability opportunity since it's going to be taking place at a significant daily zone of, say, support or resistance. So I always start with the daily to identify my key zones. So let me go ahead and give you guys my key zones right now. Okay, key overhead resistance for today here on the SPY, and it's a pretty wide zone. I like finding those narrow zones, 20, 30 cent zones, right? But this is a pretty wide one. It's between 416.47 and 417.54 here on the SPY. Okay, that's going to be some key overhead resistance on the SPY. Now, if we come on up into the zone today and we see a break and a hold above it, I mean, there's some potential, to the upside. We could see the SPY get back up to 419 and then 420 today here on the SPY if we are able to come up and break that zone and hold above it. And again, the overhead zone of resistance right now at this point in time here on the SPY is between 416.47 and 417.54, okay? Key lower zone of support here on the SPY is down between 411.61 and 412.51, another pretty wide zone here on the SPY. And these are your two make or breaks, okay? And just a couple of game plans. It really depends on what we do at one of these two zones. But we know that something is going to happen with a high certainty, right? Like 80-90% odds that if we get into one of these zones, something's going to happen. Do we know what's going to happen? No. We got to sit there and analyze and do our due diligence at that point in time and really assess the opportunity in front of us when the market gets there, if the market gets there. And I say if the market gets there because, like, we could literally just sit here and chop all day, or we may not come up into the zone or down into the zone. We could pretty much sit flat and sideways, and that means I'm just not trading today. But if we do come into one of these zones, it just depends on what's the opportunity at that point in time and how should we be reacting to that opportunity. So basically, if we come down into that zone of support, guys, and we hold it, right, then we have potential to push on up to the upside. I'll be looking to play some calls today as long as we hold this lower zone of support. And once again, that lower zone of support is between 411.61 and 412.51. So as long as price is staying above that zone, right, and we have good price development at that zone if we get there, that's going to be an area where I am simply looking to play calls as long as we're holding above that zone. But let's say we come down into that zone and we start to crack and fall below it. And then we see it's actually turning into resistance. Okay, well, from there, I would simply look to play put contracts for the next leg down. How much lower could we go here on the SPY? Well, we have potential to come all the way down towards around 410. That's a psychological level of support. But our daily zone is actually down between 408.59 and 409.09. So you would have some room down to 410 and then down to that daily zone between 408.59 and 409.09 here on the SPY. And so we can see there's just a couple of different ways that we could look to place a trade on the SPY depending on what we do at this zone. It just comes down to price development, price action, and the opportunity that may be presenting itself, right? We cannot predict what's going to happen when the SPY gets down here. We don't even know if the SPY is going to get down there. All we have to do is wait for the market to come to us. That's something a lot of traders struggle with. They chase stocks. They FOMO in, right? They are running to the market versus letting the market run and come to them. I want to wait for the market to come to me, not me go chasing the market. So if we come down to that lower zone and we hold this support, very common sense that we'll probably see a move higher. If that's the case, we just play calls. We crack that zone and we hold below it as resistance, well, common sense, we're probably going to see the next leg down into our next area of support before seeing a possible bounce. That's when I would simply look to play puts. And again, just letting the market come to me, number one, and then seeing what the market wants to do at that point in time. Does it want to hold and bounce? Does it want to crack, retest, and fall? I don't know until the market comes to me and starts to provide me with opportunity, right? But that's going to be a key area to really keep on watch for today. That's going to be a little bit of a make or break. We hold it, we can play calls. We crack it, we're looking to play puts. Pretty simple stuff, okay? So if we do come on down and hold that level of support, I'll play calls, right? Where to? Our next overhead daily zone of resistance, up between 416.47 and 417.54 here on the SPY. Okay, and that would be a good little long opportunity off lower zone of support up into overhead resistance. So there's a couple of different ideas as far as, hey, what are we going to do at this lower zone of support? If it's calls and there's a long opportunity, where are we looking to play calls to? Right? If it's a short opportunity, where are we looking to play puts to? So you have a couple of different game plans established depending on what we do at this lower zone of support. But what if we never come down to that lower zone of support? What if we just push on up into overhead resistance? Well, we need a couple of game plans established at that point in time. If we come up into this overhead zone of resistance and we fail to break above it, then I'm looking to play some puts today on back down into that lower zone of support. And then same thing. Are we going to crack it and retest it? move lower. Okay, still potential down the 410 in that same lower zone that we were just discussing. But at any point in time, we see the SPY come up to the zone and we break above it. If we see that take place and we hold above it, well, that's looking pretty bullish, right? We can see another leg to the upside. So if we ever see price get through that zone and we break that zone and we hold above it as intraday support, we have good price developments, good price action, and the opportunity is the long. Then we'll literally just look to play some calls today, right around that zone of support, up towards around, I would say, first target. Looking to be right around 419 today, and then potentially up towards around that 420. Okay, those are going to be some 2 overhead key zones and key levels of resistance here on the SPY, guys. Okay, and so normally I like to give you guys what I call a LITS, a line in the sand, right? A make or break, an area that we could hit right at market open and see a nice reaction and see a nice trade. Yesterday, I give you guys the line in the sand. And what was the line in the sand yesterday here on the SPY? Well, number one, it was that downtrend, right, from the prior day. We had a beautiful downtrend established Wednesday, and we saw that we were going to be opening right underneath of that downtrend, number one. Number two, we were actually stuck yesterday, gapping down, right? But that gap down put us under the trend line, and we were also under, obviously due to the gap down, the prior day low and close. And so we know that when we see a gap down, we can push on up and close that gap into the prior day lower close, and then see us flip red and see some of that selling momentum and that continuation bleed into the next day. And so we had a couple different things that we noticed yesterday. We were gapping down. If we're going to see a second day of continuation to the downside, we'll probably open, push up, close the gap into the prior day low and close, and then possibly get rejected, flip red, and then we play puts to the downside. But we also had some confluence yesterday off of this really nice downtrend from Wednesday. So I saw 2 solid areas to be playing some put contracts yesterday. And so I gave you guys what I call a LITS, a line in the sand. That zone and that downtrend was your line in the sand. That was your make or break. And what I said is if you do not break that zone, if you do not break that downtrend, you're playing puts because the market has a higher probability chance of falling if we can't break through that overhead zone and that downtrend. What did we say take place? We saw the market open, tap that downtrend, get rejected. That was our first trade of the day. We nailed it right at market open, right off that line in the sand because we had confirmation to get short. Then we took that trade again off the same downtrend, and we rode this bad boy all the way down to low of day. 2 amazing trades, but we had that line in the sand when the market opened. Right now, I don't have a line in the sand. Like, we're not sitting right next to a key make or break area. So I have to be extra patient today and really wait for the market to come to me. I don't see any reason to be taking any trades right at market open based on where we're currently at, where we're going to be opening, and where these key zones are currently located. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done before the market even comes to us in the first place, before we even have a trading opportunity in front of us. I know you guys love my line in the sands, right? And typically we have a solid line in the sand for the trading session, but some days there's not one. And so I need to set the expectations. Be very patient. Wait for the market to come to you. Wait for proper developments, and then attack the market if you see a good trading opportunity today. All right, team. So that's going to be my basic overview and outlook for the day. Very hands-off on the SPY, sitting on my hands, really waiting for the market to come to me to one of these zones, and then just really waiting to see what happens at that point in time. Is there even a trading opportunity? Okay, so do we have any questions about the SPY, the game plans, the analysis, the overview, why my expectations are my expectations? If we have any questions, let me know before we dive into QQQ. You loving the new layout? Good morning, y'all. Yeah, so we got a couple different layouts. Let's do a quick little vote over on the tube real quick. We got 42 beautiful viewers. If you guys are on TikTok, I don't know why you're still on TikTok. Come to YouTube. Links in the bio. Join the pre-market rundown. But we got a couple of different layouts to choose from, right? You can just see my big, beautiful face. Let's go ahead and rate this on a scale of 1 to 10 over on YouTube, right? I like it a lot. I think it's sick. Then we have the normal layout, okay, which I like. right? Because I want you guys to not see everything on my charts. But then we got the one where you can just see the whole nine. So it's up to you on which one you guys like. Kevin, great analysis on the SPY. Thank you. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I mean, we do a very, very good job with just really dialed in proper analysis every single day on the SPY and the Qs and what we're looking at and what we're watching. And I like to share that with you guys during the pre-market rundown. Now, again, there's only so much I can do in an hour. I can give you my analysis, I can give you my game plans, and I can set some expectations and get you prepared. But when the market opens, right, there's a lot that happens, right? Where's the market going? How's the market moving? How's the market developing? Are we taking trades? Why are we taking trades? So again, there's just a lot more that takes place after the market opens. So you still have to be, really, really experienced, in my opinion, to still take really good trades, even based on the analysis and the game plans, right? Because again, just because the market comes to me and comes all the way up to this zone doesn't necessarily mean I'm playing puts. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm playing calls. And you're like, what do you mean, Josh? Well, are we developing well? Is it a good, high reward, low risk opportunity, right? Do I have multiple separate reasons that suggest an entry, right? There's still a lot more that goes into it to actually place that trade and to put the odds of success in my favor. But my goal is to get you as prepared as possible before market open, all right? But again, if you're inside a chat, then obviously we're going to continue to run this for like 3 hours after market open, so you guys are good. But yeah, man. We're all set, ready to rock and roll on the SPY. You guys are all set. No issues. I always start fresh with my zones. I always start fresh with my zones every single day. Best market analysts or analysis on YouTube. I appreciate it, Scooter Tips. Thank you so much. Means a lot. Appreciate you. So, yeah, I do always start fresh with my zones. All right, so we are good to go on the SPY. Let's dive into QQQ. And again, same thing. I start with the daily. I find my high probability, key significant zones that the market could definitely move to, and there will be a trading opportunity at some point. I just got to wait for the market to come to me. That's about it. Key overhead resistance on the Qs is this zone between 349.15 and 350.34. Key zone of support on the Qs is down between 342.36 and 343.64. Okay, these are some make or breaks today. Okay, I wouldn't say it's a line in the sand, but these are going to be make or breaks depending on what happens at resistance, depending on what happens at this lower zone of support. Something is bound to take place. Okay, and it's kind of the same walkthrough, a very similar process as the SPY. Okay, so if we come on up into resistance, we top on out, can't break through it, right? We play puts. Where to? This lower zone of support. However, if we see the Qs push on up through that zone of resistance and we see it turn into solid intraday support, then what do? We look to play calls for the next leg on up. And that's the question is, okay, Josh, we could look to play calls for the next leg up. Where's the next leg up going, right? Where is that next overhead zone of resistance that we could see the Qs get to? There's going to be a lot of resistance overhead on the Qs, to say the least. You got to go back and look at these prior two lows of day. That's going to give you a really teeny-weeny narrow zone of resistance, just again, right off these two prior lows. That's between 351.13 and 351.35. So you're kind of limited to the upside into that first area of resistance. But then you're pretty much in the clear here. You would have a lot of potential to get up into this daily level where you have these 3 daily lows back to back to back. You can see that this is going to be a pretty key area here on the Qs. Low, bounce, low, bounce, low, bounce, open, big push. So that area is going to be between 353.21 and 353.28. So those would be a couple overhead areas of resistance. Those would be profit targets. If we get that push above that zone and hold that zone, and we're looking to play calls, right, we would have some room into that first zone that we just identified. And then if we break through that zone, then we could see it move even higher into that second zone that we just identified, which is up slightly above 353 here on QQQ, okay? But if we see the market pull back first into this lower zone of support, it really, again, just depends on what are we going to do at that point in time, right? Do we have good price development, good price action? Do we have multiple separate reasons that suggest a long entry at that point in time? If so, we play calls. Where to? This overhead zone of resistance. But if we come on down into this lower zone and we just can't hold it, crack below it, stay below it, and we have confirmation to get short with high probabilities, we get short. Where can we see the market come down to next? Well, here on QQQ, we have a lot of potential to fade and fall down towards around 338.25 to 338.70 here on the Qs. That would be my short target for today if we do fall below and stay below this zone of daily supports. Okay, so those are going to be the key areas on the Qs. And like I said with the SPY, just really depends on where we go first. We going into resistance? I don't know. We coming down to support? I don't know. And nobody knows what's going to happen. We just got to wait for the market to come to us, let it develop, right? Wait to see how price is reacting, start building a plan, and if there's an opportunity, let's attack it. Okay? Do I have a line in the sand, a make or break for the Qs? I do not, unfortunately. Just like the SPY, there's no key make or break for the Qs right at market open like we had yesterday. And not every day are you going to get that line in the sand. Not every day are you going to have a killer trading opportunity in the first 5 minutes of market open. Sometimes you're like, man, there's a lot of work to do today. We're right in the middle of key support, key resistance, right? There's definitely some work that needs to be done. I'm probably going to be hands off for the first 30 minutes on the SPY and the Qs because, again, we're going to be opening right in the middle of two key areas. That's the zone of uncertainty. We don't know where it's going to go. Is it going to resistance? We'll come to find out. Coming down to support first? We'll come to find out. So it requires a lot of discipline just to remain super patient and not be tempted to like just jump into a subpar opportunity. And there's a lot of times, guys, where the market opens, you're like, oh, I think it's going to start ripping to the upside, and you jump the gun. And you're better off just waiting for the market to come to you, right, and give you a higher probability opportunity to take a trade versus a subpar trade that could just chop you out. So be disciplined, be patient, wait for the market to come to you. And when it does, right, there'll be an opportunity. All right, team. So do we have any questions about QQQ at this point in time? Any questions regarding the levels, overhead resistance, lower supports? Before we move on to a few large cap option plays for today. We've got a few large cap option plays for today. We'll be discussing Amazon. Google looks great. Alphabet looks fantastic. Maybe Meta, and then a potential swing trade on ticker BJ. So we'll talk about those here in a moment. But do we have any questions? Angelo saying, oh yeah, YouTube is way better than TikTok. We can actually see the charts. Yeah, you can't do that on TikTok. Some people will put their phone in front of the charts and it's all blurry and grainy. And I'm like, why are we just not doing this on YouTube? Right? It's like, okay, well, what about the viewers on TikTok? Run a TikTok. When they show up, say, hey, just leave TikTok. That means swipe up on your phone, go to YouTube, type in Alpha Day Trading, join the live. It takes 10 seconds. And then it's a much better user experience overall, for sure. So if you guys, again, want to see the charts, get the analysis, see the visual representations, and you want to have an opportunity for me to review your stocks as well, you got to make sure you're over on YouTube, guys. All right? And the day that we get 100 viewers, I'm going to give away one free membership. So when we hit 100 viewers on a stream, giving away a membership. When we hit 200 viewers, I'm giving away another free membership. 300 viewers, another free membership. So that's the incentive to get your butts off of TikTok on the YouTube, because every 100 viewers we get moving forward, I will be selecting one person and giving them a free membership to the community. And it's a 12-month membership. It's a $2,800 program. So you're getting $2,800 worth of value and education. And every 100 people we get on these streams, I will spin the wheel. I will pick somebody and give them 12 months of access to our coaching program. Yeah, Google's looking good today, guys. Let's dive right into Google. Okay, so the Goog. I basically just want to watch this above 123.69. Why do I want to watch this above 123.69? Well, that is a daily gap area, right? And we see that that 123.69 has been respected, right? We tried to hold a support, and We fell below it as resistance, held above it as support, resistance, resistance. Now it's support again. So the simple fact that we see there is price action at that daily level makes me want to keep this daily level on watch for a possible day trade off of that level. So what did we see take place on Alphabet? Right? Well, we had earnings completely crushing the stock. We have this daily gap zone that we entered, and then we filled the gap overnight. So basically all you saw here was a daily gap fill. We came down, we filled the gap. We did drop below it a little bit, but we are now getting back inside of that daily gap. So that could lead to what we call a daily gap fill, because that gap's been filled. And now that we're entering back inside of that gap zone, we could see a daily gap fill bounce. We may be able to see Google push back up towards around 126.99 as long as we stay above and hold above 123.69. So that's really all it comes down to. Okay, it is a daily gap fill. I know we took some heat around it, but we're back above it. Gap fill bounce opportunity. As long as we hold above that 123.69, I'm looking to play calls today up to 126.99 here on GOOG. And like I said, it just comes down to, is there an opportunity to take a trade here? Is there a reason to be buying, long, getting in calls off 123.69? We'll have to see how it opens and what price does and how price develops at this level of support. And if things look good, I already know that my entries are going to be as close to that support level as possible. That's a line in the sand. It's a make or break. So if I'm getting in right at my line in the sand, my make or break, where do you think my stops are going, guys? Do you think I'm going to put a stop way down here? Okay. Where do you think my stop's going? 123.69 is my line in the sand. It is a key level. It is a make or break level. Okay, if it holds it, we can push. If it cracks it, it's probably going to drop pretty hard. Where would my stops go? Would I put them all the way down here? Or would I maybe put them just right below that line in the sand level? I'm going to put them right below that key level. It's a make or break. If it cracks it, it's probably coming all the way down here anyway. Why would I want to risk $1.50 when I can risk 25 cents? It's a boom or bust, right? It's a line in the sand. It's a make or break. It's either going to hold and push or it's going to crack and drop. Okay? No in-betweens. And I'm pretty confident when I say that, right? Especially based on how it's going to develop, what price action looks like, we can go from there. But again, it's a boom or bust trade. It's either going to hold and push higher, or it's going to try and hold. It's going to crack below it, and I want to be getting out quickly. But it really comes down to, how is price developing at this 123.69? How are we reacting? And then go from there to see if there's even a reason in the first place to get long right at that 123.69 region here on GOOG. So I will be keeping this one on watch to see if we can see, to see if we have the opportunity presenting itself for the gap fill bounce here on GOOG, guys. Okay, so that's Alphabet. Meta, we got a gap to fill to the long side today. So looking at this gap down from earnings, we can see the low of day right there at 298.85. Gap down open. Let's just make sure that's correct. The gap down open. We can bring that down a smidge. There's your gap down open right there at 295. So what could we see? We could see Meta fill its gap. There was a gap created from Wednesday's low of day into yesterday's open and high of day. There's a big gap from 295 to 298.85. So if we see Meta come on up today, break above and hold above 295, what has Meta just done? It's entered that daily gap zone. And then 295 is going to turn into support. And as long as we see that 295 holding on up as support while we're inside of that daily gap zone, I would get long for a possible daily gap fill all the way up to 298.85. That would give you nearly 4 points of upside potential today here on Meta. And it's really simple. Let Meta come up and break 295 and enter that daily gap zone. Let it pull back and retest 295 as support. And if that's what you see take place, right, you could look to get long all the way up to 298.85. On something like this, I'd give it maybe 50 cents of breathing room most. 50 cents is enough. You have $4 of upside. That's an 8-to-1 opportunity. You could build a plan to lose $100, and if you hit target, that's an $800 return on this sexy 8-to-1 opportunity. You don't need to risk any more than 50 cents. It's a boom or bust trade. You got literally $4 of upside potential. That's an 8-to-1 opportunity. It's exceptional. I like it. I want to keep it on high watch, guys. Okay? Now, if we see that daily gap fill, what could we also see today on Meta that may give us a short opportunity on Meta? So if we fill that gap, okay, and we close the gap, what could we see here on Meta that would indicate a possible short? What do you guys think inside of chat? Let me know. Type it up if you are inside of chat. Give me a little something, something, guys. What would you say? A gap fill rejection, Joe. Absolutely, Joe. We got to get that bio, baby. You're the gap hunter right here. Yeah, man, 100%. We could absolutely see what we call a daily gap fill rejection, where we fill the gap, get rejected, and we start to fade and fall. Where to? The lower end of the gap, back down to 295. So you could literally see a long opportunity and a short opportunity on the same stock off this daily gap level. I've done it before. I've seen it many times. They're awesome trades where you get in for a daily gap fill, lock in profits, and then it confirms the daily gap fill rejection. And then you just flip short, take it all the way back down into that lower zone. Another 8-to-1 opportunity, right? So if we see both of these trades set up today, you got an 8-to-1 to the long side, you got a potential 8-to-1 to the short side. Daily gap fill, then maybe a daily gap fill rejection. With that being said, I'm keeping Meta on close watch today, guys. There's a lot of opportunity here with Meta to see a couple amazing back-to-back trading opportunities. So keep that one on high watch right off these gap fill levels here on Meta. We got 73 viewers, so you guys are definitely incentivized to come on over to YouTube for the pre-market rundown show. And if, again, we get 100 viewers today, come Monday, I'm going to select one of these 100 viewers, right? And we'll make sure we do a giveaway. So let's see if we even get 100 in the first place. And if so, we're going to hook you guys up with a free membership, do a nice little giveaway. So awesome stuff. So that's going to be the game plans. That's the analysis on Meta. And Meta goes towards the top of the watch list along with Alphabet, right? Meta looks exceptional. Google looks pretty decent. Amazon, I just have it on the watch list because I assume someone's going to ask about Amazon. If no one asks, I'm not watching Amazon today, guys. I don't think there's any trading opportunity. I think the opportunity is going to be subpar compared to Google, compared to Meta, right? These are two exceptional, great opportunities, right? Look at Amazon, it's okay. It's subpar. So if anybody wants me to review Amazon, I can, and I'll give you my two key areas that I'll be watching. But honestly, there's a lot better opportunity out there to where that's where my focus should be for today. All right. And then lastly, I'm liking the opportunity on ticker BJ. And so why I like this is we did just here recently come down to this trend line, big bounce. Came back down to this daily trend line, nice bounce. It was starting to look like a bit of this maybe head and shoulders formation. But after we curled here this week and put in this higher low, I think we could see a break to the upside. I think here with ticker BJ that there's a high probability chance that we break all of this daily resistance and we see the next move to the upside. And so again, I was thinking, hey, could be a left shoulder, could be a head. This could be the right shoulder. We were back below the 20 EMA, back below the 200 SMA, back below the 50 SMA, looking to see if that trend line cracked. It did not. What did we see take place? A big, strong push back into resistance. Looking at it again, maybe that's a double top that's forming the shoulder. Back down below the 20, the 200, the 50. What did we do? We put in a higher low and had a nice big aggressive push back up through all of that resistance. Now that can turn into support. What's that given us? That's given us 1, 2, 3 higher lows with flat resistance. This is possibly setting up for a nice squeeze, for a nice break back up to these prior highs. So I'm really liking the price development and the price action of ticker BJ, and I may be interested in getting involved from maybe a swing trade, right? Definitely a day trade that I think could turn into a swing trade here. And my target would be back up towards around 73.73 and then 74.04 here on ticker BJ. But I need to see this zone break. So we have this daily zone of resistance between $70.89 and 71.10. That's a key zone of overhead resistance. All I need to see BJ do is have an intraday break above that zone and see intraday price action back at that zone of support. That's all I need to see. If we can see ticker BJ break that zone and hold that zone intraday, I'm going to start looking to get involved for a day trade that could turn into a nice swing trade. And I would have a target all the way back up to 73.73 and then right around that 74.04 level here on ticker BJ. Again, a day trade, DT, that could maybe turn into a swing trade if we do see great momentum and great action. And who knows, maybe I get enough of my position off the table to where now I can hold some of my position for a swing trade. And again, own that position free and clear, right? If I can sell enough of my position for profit to where I can have 1, 2, 3, 4, say 5 contracts left, that if they went to zero, I still make money on the trade, then I may hold a little bit this into a swing trade to see how much higher we could potentially go. So I am potentially watching ticker BJ for that day trade opportunity that could turn into a really, really nice swing trade as well. And it really just comes down to this zone between $70.89 and 71.10. We need to see an intraday break and hold above that zone. That's going to give me the confirmation I need to see to start thinking about playing some calls up into that next overhead daily zone of resistance. They're on ticker again, BJ. All right, guys. So you guys have the game plan and the analysis here on Meta, right? My game plan and expectations here with GOOG, and then my possible day trade to swing trade opportunity here on BJ. Do we have any questions about those 3 stocks? If not, we can definitely review some of your guys' stocks if needed. Stir, I got your DM, and same for me. I chuckle a little bit on the inside myself. But you got to keep it professional. You got to keep it professional around her. So, Johnny, APLM. Yeah, boss. APLM. Let's go take a look at it. See what we got in store here. Right to the daily. Recording in progress. Well, I want to stop that. We got to always disable the annotations. Stir. Let me go ahead and get the private session loaded real quick. Make sure we're good. I don't know why it still keeps coming all the way over here, but it's okay. We'll do that. Come here. Disable annotations because you are always messing with me. And we are good. All right, cool. I did report him to HR. Yes, sir. APLM. Let's take a deep dive into APLM. Well, the first thing that I see is a lot of this resistance. That really just stands out to me. This entire zone is key, right? I mean, not only is it your 20 EMA, but look at all that consolidation before that drop, retest, and then that big follow through to the downside. That's some key resistance here on APLM. I mean, at first glance, that stands out to me. That's between 194 and 205. And it makes sense. It's right at $2 psychological resistance, right at the 20 EMA. And then you can just clearly see that this is going to be a key area to definitely keep on watch is overhead resistance. Now, we already got some support. What a fun-looking daily chart here. What a really nice-looking daily chart. That's called sarcasm because it's not good looking at all. All right, you're going to have this zone right here off these 2 daily points, and you're capturing $1 as well. So I'm just going to look at this daily low, this daily high. It's not a lot of points to go off of, but it's right at $1 as well, and it makes sense off these 2 daily low, daily high before that drawdown. So that would be an area of support. So pretty much call it $1 support here on APLM from the daily. We would have some potential up to 171, and then that daily zone of overhead resistance. What is going on with APLM? U.S. futures mix, top pre-market gainers, October 3rd. They adjust a price target here to 17 bucks from 18 bucks. The stock is at 56 cents. Is there any other news here on APLM? Let's see. Do we got APLM? No. We got BKYI with a press release. We got VVPR, but we do not see APLM up 54%, but we do not see there was a press release today with APLM. So, right into the intraday, and what we notice here is we already got a nice little break and hold above $1, and we're still working our way on up. Yeah, this is not a great looking one, but it just depends on what we do when we open. I mean, at this point in time, it's like, you know where support's at, all the way back down around $1. You know where resistance is, up towards around 171. You're just stuck right in here in the middle of support and resistance. And you're definitely getting pretty tight to the upside. I mean, look at that. You can see just within the price action, you're getting pretty tight. Some traders would call this an ascending wedge, right? Not just a sideways wedge where you're wedging sideways, but an ascending wedge. Ascending wedges are more bearish than bullish, right? We know with wedges, when you just have a typical wedge, we know that these are 50-50, right? We just got to wait for the break. Wedges are 50-50, but when you have ascending wedges, those are like 70-30. 70% of the time, you see a crack to the downside. 30% of the time, it'll just keep doing its thing on up. So there is a high probability chance that we see a crack out of this wedge if we do continue to respect the fact that, hey, we're in a bit of this ascending wedge here. You can clearly see just even within the price action, it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter, right? Big pullback, nice push. Little pullback, little push, little pullback. You see it just getting tighter and tighter and tighter, more congested, and it's getting tight inside of this wedge. That could lead to a crack on off. If you see something like that take place, hey, you already know where you can come back down to. $1. That would be an area to see, do we hold on up for the next leg higher? So I personally wouldn't want to get long myself until we come back down towards around that level of support. I would be looking for a short if it were me. Two shorts. Number one, get short if we crack through that ascending wedge back down to $1. Or if we continue this up grind, looking to get short, maybe around 171 daily resistance. Or let it come all the way up towards around 2 and then look to get short up around $2. But right now, I don't see a reason to get long here unless we come back down towards around $1, set up properly, and then we may have some opportunity from there, guys. So I wouldn't really, again, want to get long until we're hitting $1, retesting $1 as support. Then maybe I look to get long. Right now, I would actually be leaning more to the short side if we crack this ascending wedge, or if we just see a big spike out of the gate up into this overhead resistance. I think the odds and the highest probability opportunity could even be to the short side off all of that daily resistance overhead. All right, so that's APLM, brother man. APLM. All right, do you have any questions? Or are you all set, ready to rock with APLM? Just got to be a little bit patient on this one, man, and just kind of see how it's going to continue to develop inside of what could be seen as a little bit of this ascending wedge. Chelsea, what's up? You got a question? Go ahead and drop that question. Anytime you got a question, you can just freely drop it, and you'll be all set. Yeah, if you guys are saying, hey, I can't really hear the stream well, you just maybe need to jack up the stream a little bit, right? Because I am completely maxed out as far as how high I can turn up this mic. And it shows loud and clear for me, and whenever I test it real quick, it's loud. So maybe it's your volume controls if you're having a hard time hearing. APLM is 63 million in float as well. 63 million float. I got a handsome plus smart. Absolutely love it. He's handsome and he's smart. Appreciate you, Sammy. All right. Chelsea, waiting for the question. If anybody else has any questions, stock reviews, we got about 8 minutes to make it happen, guys. Again, what is my main focus for today? Out of the gate, main focus, Meta for the daily gap fill. Goog for a possible daily gap fill. Not really focused on Amazon. Got ticker BJ on watch for a possible day trade that can turn into a swing trade. Then we'll be watching the SPY and the Qs, but we can clearly see there is going to be a lot of work to do before we see the Qs and the SPY even anywhere close to those daily zones. Do you have a stream video or one of the courses, or if you have some side time that you can give me a rundown of the system and charts that I use? I'm always on E-Trade and it's just different. So here's what we'll do. If we can do that today or next week, let's plan this in. Instead of doing like a lesson or a Q&A, let me take 30 minutes out of one of our next streams towards the end of the stream, and let me do a 30-minute long video as far as what do I use, why do I use it, how do I have it set up, and then we can get that right to you, and then even upload that into the courses as like one of the beginner courses. As far as, again, what am I using, right? TradingView. Why do I use TradingView? How do we set up TradingView? What are the benefits of TradingView? And all the, the basics to get it all set up. More than happy to do that, for sure. All right, anything else? We reviewed APLM. We'll see if any of you guys have any questions. Anthony, what's up, brother man? How you doing today, boss? Loving how I explained the analysis. Slow, calm, steady, informative. Making sure you guys understand what I see, why I see it, how I identify these levels. And again, I want you guys to learn. I don't just want to give you the game plan so you guys can make money. I mean, I want you making money. I want you to have a nice, solid game plan. But there's a lot more to it to actually taking the trades during the day. But I want you guys learning. I want you able to do this self-sufficiently and understand how I'm getting prepared, how I'm identifying these levels, how I'm looking to approach the market. All right. Felicia, good morning. Anthony, are you all set, ready to rock and roll today, boss? Stir, how are you doing today on this fine Friday? Do you really have your Michael Myers mask on the trade? I love it, dude. I freaking love it. Look at that. You're on stream, too. Look, we got Michael Myers in the house today. He's ready to rock and roll. I freaking love it, man. All right, cool. We're trading with Mike today. So he's doing good. I mean, it's going to get hot in there. You're probably going to have to take it off at some point. You look like you're sweating. Yeah. That may distract you a little bit from your trades. That's fine. Yeah, man. It's probably hot in there, too. You got to get a little fan to put in there. But you ready to rock and roll today, man? There we go. I love it. I'll wear my shark costume on Tuesday, so. All right, I'm ready to go too, man. I'm ready to rock and roll. We got about, what, 6 minutes? So we are prepared, man. We just got to be super patient with the SPY and the Qs, but I think you said you're looking at Google as well, Alphabet. Oh, you're on GOOGL. Yeah, yeah. So you see this big zone right here. You see that high, that gap up, but then you pulled back into this low. That would give us this slight gap in between these 2 points. So, I mean, if you look, here, let me get that lower part marked up. If you look left, then obviously, I mean, it's been filled many times. But you see from this point to this point, there was that big gap fill at this point in time. But we came down a little bit lower right here on the 18th of August. That still creates this big open window in price, right, that we have yet to come into and fill. And gaps just like to get filled. So if you're looking at GOOGL, I'm just curious, where's it at? It's actually below that 123.14. But don't let my analysis throw you off, all right? I'm just looking at some of those gap levels that I've identified to see if there's even any type of price reaction around those. But if you see something else, you take your own trade based on what you see. Because you could even pull that gap down technically into the candle body, right? Maybe not the wick, but the body, which would put you at a 122.22 area. And you're technically right now holding above 122.22. Gotcha. So yeah, when I notice there's a big gap, and I can see from July 25th to July 26th, and let's say we're right here, I just look left, right, to identify the initial gap, and then see has it been filled. And we can see that it attempted to be filled down into this low, but still looking right, it was never filled. And just till basically yesterday where we came down and filled it on the daily, right, into that candle body. We came down and closed pretty much right at that price to the penny. And that could lead, oh man, that was pretty messy. Let me remove all that first. Right, and then that could lead to a possible gap fill balance where we came down and we took some heat at that level yesterday, but we're going to be gapping up above that 122.22. And hey, if we hold that level on up, that could lead to a nice little pop to the upside. Were you at least looking long or were you looking short today? Okay, perfect. So at least both analysis is long. At least I'm not saying, hey, I think it's going to dump 10 points here. Like, well, hey, shoot, I want to get long. I still see the long as well. Zach can wait. Let me in. Hey, man, it's only been like 2 seconds. No, I'm kidding. We're going to just have to let you guys come in automatically without me having to allow you. All right, guys, on YouTube, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's pre-market rundown session, getting you guys prepared with the SPY, the Qs, my top option plays for today, my watch list, my game plans, all that good stuff. So if you guys liked today's session, definitely like the stream, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so when we go live every morning, Monday through Friday, you guys are notified, you guys can attend, and always get these breakdowns and these live sessions to help you guys get prepared for the day. But with that being said, we're going live inside of the community for the rest of today. Trade smart, trade safe. Enjoy your Friday. Have a blessed weekend. And I'll see you guys back here on the tube this Money Monday at 8:30 for the pre-market rundown. So take care, guys, and I'll see you back here Money Monday. And we're not going to let Corey in whatsoever. He can stay. He's got meetings.